Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
George, man, it's been a wild week in the headlines. A lot going on. Presidential election just got more intense. George, it's almost anxiety is very high right now. There's a lot of tension in the air. How are you drawing the line with the families you serve between being a therapist and also being their financial advisor?
You know, we all have our opinion, Mark. Is it a good thing that's happened? Is it a bad thing that's happened? Is the presidency right now in a good place, bad place? And taking the political agenda out of this. I feel like I'm watching history. When I growing up watching the third world countries have these mock trials when they didn't like someone and how they're crucifying people. This is what I'm watching right now because I still wish I knew what the charges were.
Yeah.
I don't understand the charges. Mm-hmm. The problem that comes down that I worry about because I have that anxiety. I can feel the tension. We've worked 10, 20, 30, 40 years. We're getting close to retirement. We're just starting out and working. And what are the things we're worried about? How's this going to affect me? Because I have no control over this big picture. I have no control over the government. The government is what it is. Corrupt, good, bad, whatever. We love our country. We're worried about how is our income going to stay? How are we going to stay where we're at? Can I protect what I have? I've worked so damn hard. I need to protect what I have, keep it growing. And I want to get a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. So let's look at the things and let's take that step off the ledge. And let's look at the things that we're looking at that we can control. Folks, we worked really hard to build this wealth. $200,000, $3, $4, $1 million. We worked hard to get that. Now is the time that we need to protect what we have. You did a great job planning, sacrificing, going without. Now's the time to start working and having a protection, a dome over top of your retirement so we can take away the uncertainty of the future. When you work with myself here at Betraya Wealth or you come in, you meet the team, we're going to help take away the concerns you have. Our job, as Mark said earlier, is kind of get you off that ledge, be a therapist. Let's worry about the things that we can control, how we can protect what we have, how we can put some safer options in place and still have some growth. It's about making sure you get to go where you want to go and how you can go. The other stuff out there, let's get all the stuff out. Let's go back to being the greatest country in the world, America, and plan for our retirement. When you call me at 302-330-2166, and I did say call me, right?
Yeah.
Because either me or one of my team members are going to answer the phone call live. We'll answer those questions you have. We'll schedule that no cost, no obligation appointment to help guide you and get you feeling better about yourself. You can either call 302-330-2166 or go to Betraya, P-A-T-R-I-A wealth.com and schedule that meeting to come into the office. Let's start the process. Let's get ourselves back on ground to handle what we can handle. Mark, we talked before the show. We're concerned. We say, thank God that we're in a position now where I can go grocery shopping. If we want X, Y, Leslie and I can get that.
Yep.
I really worry about those younger people or people that are on the borderline that are sitting there saying it's between
tank of gas or food on the table. Yeah.
But that's what my job is. I'm here to help you. And one thing I pride myself on is when you come in with the proprietary programs that I have at my disposal and that we help build, good, bad, or indifferent, there is no gray after we're done talking. Mm-hmm. After we talk, folks, we're going to sit there and give you the answers to the questions. And if it's good, I'm going to tell you you're in a great place. But if it's not, I'm not going to sugarcoat, say, oh, don't worry about it. You need to know the facts. And when you work with me, that's what we do here at Betraya Wealth. We give you the facts. So call me at 302-330-2166, and let's start that process to get a clearer future about tomorrow.
You said protect. I want to help you protect your assets. Give me a couple of examples. What are you doing for the families that you serve to protect their hard-earned money?
Well, when we sit down and look at you, and one thing I have to always emphasize, Mark, is there is not one size shoe fits everybody. When we meet with you, we're going to see what your wants, needs, and desires are because we're not the same. We have different desires, different wants. Whenever I retire in 10, 15 years, 20 years, I want to stay home. I like being home around my kids, seeing my children, seeing my grandchildren, seeing my family.
The older I get, the more I appreciate a Friday night at the house.
It's great, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Sitting on the patio. I have the pond in the back. I have the fireplace. Even when it's hot, I still have the fire pit going on outside. It's just the smell. I love that. Mm-hmm. I am not a traveler. But some people like to travel. They want to take a trip around the world. They want to go, and that's fine. But we're going to build that plan. But when I look at how are we going to protect what you have? Because we always talk about, you've taken risk. You've really worked hard. You're able to take risk as a young person. As you get older, you need to be a little more conservative. And that's where we have to have those 3, 4, even 5 reliable, dependable, and sustainable avenues of income. How are we going to build this plan to fit what your wants, needs, and desires are? So we're probably going to use some annuities. We're going to have Social Security. We're going to talk about the upsides and downsides of when to turn on Social Security, when's the right time, and maybe are you one of the people that need to be concerned about 2033, but having a reduction of Social Security if that becomes true? So we'll look at that. We're going to talk about your pension. If you have a pension, you're lucky. Most people don't have pensions. Mm-hmm. But if you're one of that select few, we're going to use that pension to come in. And then we're still going to talk about growth. We're still going to have money at risk in your retirement because you still need to get bigger, stronger, and larger, even in retirement. But the difference is proportionate. You need risk that's proportionate to your lifestyle. We all read those articles growing up, right? You need $1 million saved for retirement. You need $5 million saved for retirement. I don't go for that. I am not the Rockefellers. I'm the Politarhos. What's right for me is not necessarily right for this person or that person. So we're going to build that plan. If you save $200,000 plus for retirement, and that $200,000 plus is a TSP, thrift savings plan for our federal employees, a 401k, a 403b, managed funds, CD savings, earmarked for retirement, you need to give us a call at 302-330-2166 to schedule your no-cost, no-obligation meeting. Call 302-330-2166. Either myself, Angie, Achilles, or Jared are going to answer that phone call live when you call, be able to answer those questions, and be able to set the appointment for you to come into the office here at 501 Silverside Road, Wilmington. I have customers in every state with the exception of a handful out west. And I'm working with the Johnsons. They're from the federal government, they're VA, and they're getting ready to retire. And they looked at it and they didn't know that they could retire. So after we put everything together, they have about $2.5 million saved for retirement, which is great. And the best part is none of their assets for retirement, they need to touch. So with them, we talk about mixing. How we're going to work protection. We're putting some of that money, about $400,000 of that, into a fixed index annuity. We're putting some more money into long-term care with their plan, and we have some money in assets under management because that's what their plan and their needs and wants call for. And that's how we build that plan for people. So when you call us at 302-330-2166 or go to Patria, Patria wealth.com, schedule your no-cost, no-obligation meeting. We'll start that planning process with you to give you the family first retirement plan.
George, we can't control the headlines. We cannot control what politicians are going to do. No. We're trying to do something about the way they spend our money. If you do feel that anxiety right now, the headlines are so heavy on top of you, there's nothing wrong with giving George a call to say, man, let me just talk this through. Here's what I have saved. Here's what I have in my 401k. Here's what I have in a pension. What should my next step be? In your opinion, what do you think I should be doing? What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? That's the Family First Retirement Plan. You're just having a conversation. And in that first initial consultation, you're not required to become a client. You're just going to get to know each other. Help relieve some of the anxiety, if you will. 302-330-2166.
I just want to say, Mark, and that goes to people that just don't have an advisor. People also have advisors. If you work with someone right now and they haven't been answering your telephone call, they haven't answered your questions, or you just think it's time to get a new set of eyes, let's look at together. It's like when you're picking out carpeting and they start showing you carpeting. It all looks the same after a while, and you just pick one. Well, you're not carpeting. We want to sit there and have a new set of eyes look at that and see how it's going to fit in your house, right? Bring that information you have working with one of those big box firms. Because I guarantee you, folks, as a rule, when you work with a big box firm, you're 62 years old. This is the plan for you. They put you in that box and they slide you down the assembly line. And you're not a box. You're not a shoe. You're special.
Nothing wrong with getting that second opinion. I'm glad you brought that up, George, because every week we get a call from somebody that says, I've got that big box advisor that you're talking about. I just don't feel like my needs are being met. So let's break it down, George. There's somebody listening this weekend that feels like they've been left out on an island. So what are some of the steps if we want to change advisors? Maybe we want to come start talking to you, working with you a little bit more. How does that process work?
When you come into the office here, 501 Silverside Road, Mark, we're going to start the process. Before we do anything, I can't emphasize this enough. We need to build the plan and get all the data. And that first meeting, folks, it's about an hour long. So I want to learn about you. What makes the Owens family run? Mm-hmm. What's the Owens family's desires, wants, and needs? We're going to see what you have, what your expenses are, what your income is currently, what we have earmarked for retirement, and then we'll start looking at the plan, how we can better fit you. I'm a big advocate about you have to do something because it makes sense to do it. You just don't do something to say I did it.
Right.
Does that make sense,
Yeah,
Mark?
yeah.
So many people say, I'm going to do this right now because my buddy did it. I don't care about your buddy. I care about you and your family. And we just had a meeting last week from Julie and Jonathan from Sicklerville, New Jersey. It's right across the bridge here, Mark. I know you're a little unfamiliar with our layout here, but right across the bridge, about 25 minutes away. Jonathan has been retired from a shipping company for a few years. He's 62. His wife just recently retired from the federal government. She's 59. Jonathan has about $1.9 million put aside with an advisor he's been working with, that all the people he worked with went to this advisor. His wife has put all her money with us, moved with us. And Jonathan's like, you know what? I feel so good when I talk with you guys because you ask me questions. You want to know what my thoughts are. We are now in the process of moving that money over to manage funds, has a little more risk, but that's what he wants to do. Because the agent he's working with, the company he's working with, looks at his account every quarter to see how it did. We actively manage those accounts on a daily basis. Achilles' one job, he comes in the morning, is to check over those accounts along with Jared to make sure we're in process, where we're at, how things are going, and if there's a question or concern, we're addressing them immediately. I'm not waiting for the wagon to get in front of the horse. The horse is pulling that wagon, taking it where we want it to go. So when you call me at 302-330-2166, either me, Angie, Achilles, or Jared are going to answer that phone call, and we're going to start that process and answer those questions and have you come into the office. And when you have those questions right now, we're not talking about, I don't think taxes will come up always. They always do because it's such a terrible question. But we have a strategic partnership with Ernie Callias, who's our CPA in-house. And we're looking at all those ways to plan better, use our taxes, to keep our money in our pocket and to plan accordingly. Because we just talked about the election, how the anxiety is coming up, right? Taxes are going up, folks. Whether Joe Biden somehow gets reelected or President Trump gets back in office, in 2026, I got to think taxes are going to go up.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm glad you said that because we always talk about the Trump tax cut. If Trump gets reelected, is there a chance that we can keep the same tax rates, or is it out of his control?
I have a problem with us owing $34 trillion.
Yeah.
I just don't know how we can afford not to raise taxes, even though, and we have a program we use, it's about tax planning. And I always have customers say, well, taxes were lower under the Obama era than they are under the Trump era. Trump era taxes were only for wealthy people. I hate to tell you this, folks, but it's a proven fact. Your taxes were lower for everyone across the board under the Trump era. Now, in 2026, if they do not put a new tax bill in place, we will be reverting back to the Obama era tax plan. What's that mean for you and me, Mark? And for the people listening out there today in Wilmington and Dover and Atlantic City and Sicklerville?
Higher taxes.
Higher taxes. You're going to be paying more to Uncle Sam to give away more of our money to people we don't know who the hell they are. But that's how you have to think about it. So answer your question. I think when President Trump gets in office, is he able to keep this tax plan in place? I would think so because it generates business. We get back into more people working, more money coming in because more people are feeding into the system. I don't think they'll be able to do it only because our grandchildren, my grandson Archer, has a terrible position. They have a tax bill. They have to pay our tax stupidity, spending stupidity, for 2, 3, 4 generations away. It's funny. The government wants to know where I spend my $600 when I pay the young man to cut my grass every year.
Venmo, right?
But they don't dare read these bills sending, billions of dollars overseas. What the heck is wrong with this picture?
Who audits the government? Nobody. They're supposed to be set.
Hey, when you need money, what do? You raise taxes.
That's right. Insurance and annuities offered through George Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.